Hi everyone, this is Lila'Angelique, and we've been living in this really amazing way for a year now. It's as of August 2022, since from August 22 to August 2023. We first went to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, a year ago. And prior to that, I've always been a struggling artist my whole life. I've always not had money, and I've never in my life before have I had stability, financial stability, and that the ability to just make decisions and not worry about how I'd be able to pay for it. And for the 15 years of my life when I living with Thoth and traveling with him, and we travel all over the world and played in so many places. Hundreds of thousands of people have seen us play, and somehow we survived. And it was hand to mouth for a really, really long time. It was a big struggle, and it was scary, as a lot of artists I think could relate. It's understandable, we were living based on doing our art and nothing else. And I've never had a job. I've never worked for anybody, and all the money I've made up until a certain point was coming from performing, and that's it, and doing gigs and playing music and doing my own expression, my own creative expression, not somebody else's. Not singing cover songs, not doing, and then I would use my free time to draw, which I still do to this day. So spending 15 years struggling financially was a character building, definitely. Taught me a huge amount about who I am as a person, and taught me how to manage with the money I have, and to be able to live and survive with what I have and what I make. Gave me a good work ethic, gave me good money management skills, all these things that are necessary for adulthood and for survival. And nobody believed I could do it, of course. I understand. I was 20, 21 when I met Thoth, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just following my heart, and I always have followed my heart. And I always dreamed, all of those years, all my life, if I could just have money, then if money just kind of fell into my lap, we all have this dream of just have money fall into my lap, and then I would be able to just do what I wanted to do and live the kind of life I've wanted to live. Well, my dream came true, and I now have enough to take care of us, to travel, to live, and I manage it very well. I budget well. I keep track of it. I have a budget sheet that I make every month. Every time I spend money on things, I always write it down and keep track of it. So I'm really good at that. And I've had a year of practice, one could say, of managing, booking travel, booking flights, getting housing, and then figuring out where to eat, how we can play, and not having to focus so much on making money by playing, just playing for our own joy. And my dream came true, and yet when I was younger and I thought, if that only happened, then I'd be happy, right? Then I'd just be thrilled all the time, just be blissful all the time. It's not true. When you have more, there's more to lose. You fear that you're going to lose it. You still fear that it's not going to be enough. There's always fears and worries and anxieties about money, even when you have more money. You wonder if you're doing a good job with it. You wonder if you're budgeting well. You wonder if you can sustain it. I'm very keen on sustaining my life and sustaining the lifestyle that we have. So, and I'm not ambitious to own a house someday, or to buy a vehicle, or to have a big, I don't want to buy stuff. I don't care about. I'm not. That's not the way I think. I've never been that way. So in the last year or so, I've been really reflecting on what it means to do in my life what I really want to do, and that my thoughts and my beliefs about my life and my likes and my dislikes and the things that I really want to do, that's really important for me to focus on. And that somehow I've always been able to focus on that. I've always been able to follow my gut, follow my heart, and really know what it is that's right for me. Even when I didn't have Thoth around, who is so good at that. He's so good at following his heart and following his gut. And that's what he inspires me with, because he helps me remember that, life is about following your heart, especially as an artist. So even now, I still have to have faith that it's going to be okay. I have to have faith that my investments will grow, that the way that my money is invested is good, that the fact that I have a financial advisor is a good thing, that will help me and keep me from having to think about investing and managing all this shit, which is not something I really want to do. I like to focus on creativity. So that's all to say that I've just been thinking a lot about that, and I've come into a lot more self-awareness and inner strength and inner power about really realizing that it's only me that can fully know what's best for me. That nobody knows how best I should spend my own money, for example. I know how to do that. And if I listen to my heart and I really follow my feelings about it, then I will know what's best to do. And with a sweet being like Bunny around, he helps me tremendously to trust myself. And I'd say when I wasn't financially stable, I did a lot of seeking other people's advice and opinions and thoughts. And I, not as much as some people, because I've always been I've always been strong within my own beliefs. But I did have this kind of feeling of that other people did know and would be able to help me and would be able to guide me in what I should do and what I should do with my life and how I should feel about things and how I should approach things. And over the last year in particular, I've really realized that only I can know. Only I can know what's best for me. And it's really made me feel self-empowered and but I still get afraid. I still get scared. And I still doubt myself, and I think I always will. I don't think a year passing in which I've been like, I've sustained us. I've sustained us financially. I've taken care of us. I've managed all of our flights and housing and all of this stuff and planning where to go next. And I've sustained us, and I still have plenty of money. That I don't think I'm ever going to get to a point where I'm going to be like, I'm doing a really good job, and then I never doubt myself again. And I'm always going to be like, am I doing a good job? I don't know. And nobody can really tell me except for me. I have people around me who care about me, but only I can really gauge that within myself. And I think it's that I feel like I've grown up overnight ever since this happened, because yes, we were on our own for 15 years, traveling and living and trying to survive. But I think I had this kind of mental picturing that we were going to be saved at some point, which we were in the end. But that was kind of driving me. That was what was keeping me going, was this feeling that we were going to be saved, that someone was going to save us. Instead of that, I needed to stand on my own 2 feet and take responsibility for my own choices in my own life. And it's just a different way of thinking. And now I really am in that space of that I am finding my own way, and my way is my way, and other people have their own way to do things. And it's not good or bad, it's my way and other people's way. And I think this independence that I have has just shown me that what I want and what's important to me is really, it's important to me, and I should focus on that. For example, I really like to draw. I spend most of my days drawing and painting. And sometimes I work on music, and I like spending time with my husband and going out to eat. Those are the things I like to do. And those are the things and listening to music. I love listening to music. So, and then when we get to do a show, that's really great. I love doing when we get to do performances. Those are few and far between these days, because we don't play out in public like we used to, because we don't have to. But to really recognize the things that make me happy or what makes my life worth living. And in the last 48 hours, for example, my father has really encouraged me to get focused on learning about investing, learning about like how to invest like a financial investor does. And I started really using some of my precious time that I use for drawing to focus on that. And I realized that doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me happy to try and learn how to, beat the market and succeed in the stock market. That it's just overwhelming, it's complicated, it's convoluted, I don't understand it. And I have somebody doing that for me, a financial advisor, and that is worth it. It is worth it to have somebody who does that for me. And so for me to really recognize what it is that's important to me and what makes me feel good, and to live my life based on those principles, because at the end of the day, I really do have faith in something that's deeper than just money or status or wealth or success. I'm very humble. I've actually come to accept that it's unlikely that I'm going to be famous or recognized for my talents. I've really come to terms with that, and I'm in a lifestyle in which I can just focus on being creative. And the thing that is the most important to me is creativity. Being creative all day long, that's the thing that makes me happy. Focusing too much on money or finances or anything that's distracting me from that makes me unhappy. And the world is quite focused on possessions and money and wealth and status and fame and riches, and I'm just not. So, and I've really realized that. And I think over my lifetime, I've kind of been told in different ways, subtle and blatantly, that that's not okay, that I should be more ambitious, that I should be more, that I should push myself out into the front, that, that if I'm an artist and I draw all the time, then I should be making a living with my art. I should be making lots of money with my art. I should be in galleries and doing shows and touring all over the world doing that, making millions of dollars on my art. That's not, if that happened, that would be great. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'm not opposed to making more money. I'm not opposed to making money off my art, for example. But I'm not going to be spending my days and my time trying to make that happen, because that's not what would make me happy. Because it would make me have to focus on trying to convince people that what I did, that my art was really good. And it's the same with the music we make. I'm not ambitious in that way, really. I'm not ambitious in the way that I'm like, I need to push tribal Baroque into the consciousness of the world, and I need people to hear our music and buy our music and want to see us play our music live and want to come into concerts and shows, and because that requires some skills that I don't have, and I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in spending my days trying to convince the world to like me. And that was a hard thing about performing day to day, is that it was a thing that I had to go out and kind of be this performing monkey, saying, doing this beautiful thing that was so sacred and precious to me, that means a lot to me, but needing to make money at the same time. And I think money and art really don't go together very well. And I'm very blessed, like I'm living the dream life of a creative artist, in which I get to just focus on being creative and not on trying to monetize my art, not trying to monetize my music. Over the last year or so, a couple of people have said, you guys like famous YouTubers, or are you a touring musicians or something? That's what they assume, is that we have some kind of success thing that has happened and that makes it possible for us to live this way. And the truth is that neither one of us is ambitious in that way. I'm not ambitious to become a multi-million-dollar stockbroker who knows everything about finances and stocks and bonds and all this shit. I'm also not ambitious to be to try and become super famous and recognized musically or creatively or artistically. My ambition lies with the desire to be creative. I want to be creative. I want to write music. I want to draw pictures. I want to paint canvases. I want to make art. And that's what I'm blessed to be able to do. And we live in a society in which that's not really seen as okay, really. It's not seen as okay for you to just want to focus on your creative visions and to focus on your creative skills, to increase your skills and to become a better artist or a better musician or to just to make music for the sake of making music, just to make art for the sake of making art because that's something you love to do. It's that you have to monetize it. It's that you have to become famous. It's that you have to become recognized. It's that you have to become world-renowned. And there was a time, maybe when I was younger, maybe 10 years ago, that when I was in my 20s, mid-20s, that I really wanted that I was really ambitious in that way, and I really desperately wanted us to be famous, and I wanted us to be world-renowned, and I wanted us to be like legendary musicians and artists. And I really have come in 10 years on, 35, and one could say that's quite jaded for 35 years old, but I've done a lot of work in my life. I've played music all over the world, thousands of times to hundreds of thousands of people, and one could say it's not really made much of a difference, one could say, within the great scheme of wealth or recognition or fame or anything. My money came from a completely different place. It's like completely came out of left field. It didn't come because I became famous as a musician or because I became world-renowned as an artist. And for most people, that's the sign of success as a musician, that you can't be just a creative artist who loves to paint or loves to draw or loves to make music. You're just an amateur. You're like a failure at life. You know, people. When I'm painting in an airport or in a train station, people will ask me, "Do you make a living doing this?" That's their sign that I am successful. And it can't just be that they look at what I do and they can see that I am successful because I've become skilled enough to be able to make what I'm making, to create what I'm creating. And that for me is the sign. The sign of my success, for my own definition of success, is that I have learned the skills to be able to do the creative things that I can do, to be able to sing with the amount of skill and technical prowess that I can, and creativity and improvisation and musicality, and play violin in an exploratory, improvisatory, free, expressive way. That's my sign of success with music. That I can go on to reason and I can write music on my own. With drawing, that I can sit down and draw something that's in my imagination, or see it in front of me and draw it, and create a magical thing in front of my eyes that I created. That's the sign of success for me. And I think there's been some confusion in the world that we as a society are focused on money and wealth and fame and glory and recognition and physical representation of success. That equates to owning stuff, that equates to having a lot of money in the bank. And even though I have now more money than I've ever had, I'm not fooled by it. And it's easy to be fooled by it. That it isn't the answer to life. It isn't having lots of money and having lots of possessions is not the answer to happiness. And it's taken me like a year of time to really come into understanding that I did think that having more money would make me happy. And it didn't. I have been, and I do. I face a lot of, like, why am I sad? Why do I feel unhappy? Why do I feel scared? Why do I feel unsure of myself? Why do I feel lonely? Why do I feel misunderstood? Why do I feel alone in my own thoughts and feelings about my life? It's because I think differently from other people, and I have my own have my set of morals and beliefs about life. And I am not, my focus and the things I really believe in are art and magic and music and beauty and talent and dedication and devotion to your creative path. And I also believe that there is something much further beyond than what we can understand that is watching over us. I believe that. I'm not the kind of person who needs to know absolutely that I'm going to be okay. Everybody needs to know to a certain extent that they're going to be okay. That they have enough money where they know they can sustain themselves, where they can take care of the people they love. That feels good to me, to know that I know that I'm probably going to be okay in my life. I didn't know that before. In the past, it was like, oh my God, Thoth is going to die in 10 years, and then I'm going to have to go out and play in the street to try and make money, and I'm going to be crying every day and just be miserable and not have any money. That's not my life. It never was meant to be my life. That wasn't my destiny. And I'm going to be traveling around the world, most likely, and drawing and being creative, and probably being quite unknown and anonymous, and because I don't have the ambition to try and make people see me. I do what I can. I share videos online about daily experiences. I share things on social media sometimes. But my ambition is to be creative. And that's really not an ambition at the end of the day. It's just it's a deep need within me and for Thoth too. That's how we feel. That's what we want to do. And that's good. And it's okay. And I need to follow my own feelings and my own heart and not try to be convinced by somebody else that I should be focused on making more money, that I should be focused on learning about the stocks, learning about the stock market, that I should be more ambitious about my art, that I should be trying to make more money, trying to make a lot of money as an artist. I need to do what it is that I believe in and what feels good to me, especially now, because I'm living I'm in an incredibly privileged position that a lot of people, especially a lot of artists, don't get into. So that's my experience.